everyone. Welcome to the webinar of HyperGuest and RoomRaccoon. And welcome every HyperGuest customers, RoomRaccoon customers, and anyone else. It's Niels here and David. We will do a quick introduction now, but this webinar will be focused on how to drive hotel efficiency and revenue growth. Meaning for HyperGuest, we will explain a little bit what HyperGuest does. For people that don't know what RoomRaccoon does, is what RoomRaccoon does and can help with. We will be able to receive questions from you. On the left side, you can see a Q&A. I don't know if we want to do a double check from everyone. So if somebody wants to say a question now, we can or send something on the Q&A. That would be great. We will monitor it and we will try and respond during the webinar. If we don't have time during the webinar, we will try to do it at the end, at the Q&A. And if it's a lot of questions, we can also reach out to you afterwards. The webinar will also be nice. Thanks, Nadia, for sending something. I see it works. Perfect. The webinar will also be recorded. So in case something went too quick or you want to see something on the slide, you will be able to review the recording. And yeah, just a little introduction. I'm Niels from RoomRaccoon, the market head, South Africa. As you can hear, I'm not from South Africa. I'm from the Netherlands, but immigrated to South Africa 8 years ago, looking after the Southeast African market. And I will tap a bit later about the RoomRaccoon. David, over to you.
Thank you, Niels. Thanks for that introduction. And as you can hear from my accent, I am from South Africa. So I am the country manager for Southern Africa and Indian Ocean for HyperGuest. Just a quick background. Started my hospitality hotel career way back in 2000 in Scotland, moved back to South Africa, and then started my hospitality diploma or a degree in hotel management, worked in various hotels throughout South Africa, various markets as revenue manager. I also worked for one of the large OTAs, also opened their office here in South Africa, and now ended up at HyperGuest. So I'm looking forward to give you some more insights on how to grow revenue with RoomRaccoon today for HyperGuest. I'm going to explain that to you. So Niels, if you can just quickly let me know, you can see my screen, I can go ahead.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is not something new. Direct is better. And I think this is a conversation we as hoteliers have had over and over again. But what does that actually mean? And how much time do we really spend on direct bookings? And this is something where HyperGuest can really assist you today. So what it is making sure that property can actually work B2B and getting those direct bookings. You've got your own website. Yes, we know that. You've got your OTAs that's connected via, for instance, RoomRaccoon. But most importantly, then you've got these other channels, and there's so many middlemen involved that sometimes can get confusing. And this is where HyperGuest comes into play, where we basically take away that middleman and then give you access to this distribution list. So from a hotel side, with a good channel manager, like someone like RoomRaccoon, connect to HyperGuest, and HyperGuest takes care of the rest. So we are going to talk about increasing revenue through direct business. So just a quick introduction on a HyperGuest. So what is HyperGuest? In one sentence, it's basically an aggregator between hotels, guest house, lodge, resorts, big chain hotels to agents. That is basically what HyperGuest does, and gives you access to various distribution channels with a range of advantages to basically extend your reach through basic or simple operations, or giving you access to direct business through simple, sufficient channel. So what are the reasons you should sign up to HyperGuest? And one of the main reasons would be to increase your distribution. And this is what we want to try and achieve as hoteliers. Whether you're a guest house, big chain, resort, it doesn't matter. We want to increase your distribution. So having that one channel with a great channel manager like somebody like RoomRaccoon, and be able to distribute and expose your property to multiple channels globally. And that is why you want to sign up with somebody like HyperGuest. But you also want it to be seamless. You want it to be able to integrate without you having to do anything, basically. And that is why we have somebody like a RoomRaccoon, where we've already partnered with them, where the integration is what we would call a plug and play. So you just map your rates, you connect to HyperGuest, and HyperGuest takes care of the rest. So we've got already a seamless integration with RoomRaccoon, for instance. Then streamline your operations. You want to simplify things. That is what HyperGuest can assist with. We can go and give you that distribution and simplify your distribution for you for all those B2B connections. And that is one of another reasons why you would like to sign up to HyperGuest. Then we are extremely cost effective, and I'm sure all of you will agree that this is another discussion that always comes up in marketing meetings, in sales meetings, in operational meetings. How can we save on our cost per bookings? Now, having signed up with HyperGuest, and I can tell you up front that we are 100% free to hotels. So there's a cheaper way currently to distribute via HyperGuest, for instance. So wanting to increase your average room rate or wanting to increase your revenue, another cost that you need to look at is your cost per booking. And this is where HyperGuest is a key channel for you to consider. Then data. As a revenue manager myself, data is always key. Everybody wants data. Without data, how do you make decisions? How do you implement strategies? So HyperGuest actually provides you with data in order for you to go and implement strategic strategies for peak periods, for low season, for anything like that. You can now make informed decisions based on the data that is available to you on the HyperGuest platform. So overall, signing up with HyperGuest offers you, for the hotels or guest houses, the opportunity to increase your distribution, to streamline, making it easier for you to distribute, and making your operations so much easier. No more manual work, which is one thing that we always need to think about. A lot of cost savings and all the data for you to make informed decisions. Moving on, and I always laugh when I see this screen, and mainly because of distribution is a scary word. I've heard people saying my distribution is daunting. It is a scary place. It is difficult. It's not something I like to talk about. These are the things that I've heard. And it basically boils down to what we talk about when we say spaghetti distribution. Now, in today's world, there's no need for something like a spaghetti distribution. And what does that look like? It looks like this. So how do you eliminate this? Point number one, make sure you've got a good channel manager. Like our friends from RoomRaccoon, once you've got that and you connect to somebody like HyperGuest that can give you a direct connection, there's no need for you to worry, in the sense that your distribution should not be scary. It shouldn't be something that you try to hide or try to not talk about. It shouldn't look like this. You can imagine if we as hoteliers go out and say we worry about our distribution. You can imagine if a guest is out there and needs to look at what your distribution looks like. That is not a pretty picture. So yes, we all like spaghetti, but not in business terms. We do not want to have our business look like a bowl of spaghetti. It needs to be direct. It needs to be simple. It needs to be easy to do. It needs to be something that you want to be connected with and connected to. So ensuring that even a guest, remember, the booking experience does not start, or the customer's experience does not start when they drive through the gates or when they walk through the doors. The customer's experience already starts at time of booking. So if it's a simple process, a simple booking process, an easy confirmation, then that is when the full experience, the customer's experience from your property, that is really where it starts. So having a direct connection, that is what will assist you in getting that good experience, that good booking experience, the start of the booking customer experience of your property. That's where it needs to start, right from the beginning. So we try to eliminate the spaghetti screen that you've seen here by giving you direct access to agents B2B globally across the world. Okay, so I keep on talking about direct bookings. You keep on at property level, talk about direct bookings. But what are these benefits? So HyperGuest can assist you with these benefits by basically what are the first one? And that's communication, direct communication. We all know how important it is to have good and great communication. We all know how things can get lost in translation if there are multiple people having to deal with a single booking or with a single request. We have people checking in and saying, yeah, but I did ask for B&B and now you're telling me it's room only, or I did ask for a transfer from the airport and there was nobody there for me, waiting for me. These are the type of things that you want to eliminate. By having direct bookings coming through to your property, the communication is then much clearer, and you will have you potentially will not have that communication problems anymore. Therefore, direct bookings is a great way to eliminate all those communication problems that you used to have. Brand loyalty or flexibility. We all know, okay, so brand loyalty is not your logo being on social media, your logo being on newspapers, your logo being presented on TV or anything like that. That is not brand loyalty. Brand loyalty is what a customer experience at your property. What do they think about your property? What is the culture at your property? What do you do at property level that makes a customer come back and actually goes and write a good review and actually goes and brag about your property, goes and talk about your property to their friends? That is the brand loyalty that you want from your customers, not them showing all your logos across the board. They want that flexibility of having able to talk to you, like that communication we referred to, having the capabilities and wanting to talk to you and know that when I speak to this property, they will assist me with whatever request I have. That is the brand loyalty you can build by having direct bookings coming through to your property. Better rates. Okay, better rates doesn't mean the cheapest rate. Better rates mean better for you as well as for our guests or for your guests. That is the better rates that you can pull. Remember, now with these better rates and direct bookings, you are excluding all those additional channels in between, all those additional costs that you need to include to pay for all those various distribution channels. You eliminate that. Therefore, you can offer better rates. And therefore, for the customer, they would see a better rate, not necessarily the cheapest, but the best rate. And that is also the best rate for you at property level. Increased revenue. Of course, it's going to increase if you can sell your best rate with low cost per booking. Of course, that's going to increase. If you've already got that brand loyalty, of course, you're going to have return guests. And that's how you're going to get your increased revenue at your property, guest house, your B&B, your lodge, doesn't matter. You will see that increase because of the communication, because of the brand loyalty, the best rate that you have in the market, competitive rates you've got. That's how you're going to start increasing your revenue. And then with having direct bookings, of course, you're going to be able to offer all those specials during peak periods, during off season, depending on if you're a seasonal hotel or guest house or resort, you will be able to offer better deals or your special offers to your loyal customers. As you know, all those various big hotels, they all have loyalty programs. So how are you going to compete against those, let's call them the big boys? Now, by having direct bookings, it will be much easier for you to sell your loyalty program to those loyal customers of yours. So it's so important for you to increase your direct business. And overall, direct business is a win-win for you as well as for the guests. So you are giving them a better rate. You are giving them great communication, of course, that's what they always want. And that brand loyalty is most definitely going to increase. So direct bookings, of course, should be your number one channel at your property. Moving on, this is what we're trying to eliminate. Okay, so that is all those middlemen that we are referring to. So you are sending out a rate. Let's say you're connected to RoomRaccoon sends out a rate, but there's multiple channels in between, multiple people handling this reservation before it actually gets to the booker. And that's what we're trying to eliminate here, so that you can go from property via your channel manager directly to that agent in New York City in order to book you. So better communication, better rates, everything will improve, and as well as your average room rate. And if your average room rate increases at a low cost per booking, of course, your revenue or your bottom line is most definitely going to increase. So this is what HyperGuest ultimately can assist you in getting. So you heard me a few times saying now lower cost per booking. So what are the benefits of that? So from a property, and I've heard it multiple times, I can, in order to make more money, I need to charge more. No, that's not how you necessarily make more money. Yes, you can increase your rate, but what sometimes happens is if we go too high, we start outpricing ourselves. And when we go too low, we're underpricing ourselves. So there is that fine middle path that we need to find. But you can still make the same amount of money at the higher average room rate compared to this middle one if you just cut out the cost per booking. What does it cost you to actually get the customer? And the one way is cutting down the distribution costs. And that is how we're going to increase revenue at the same rate that you want to, the same rate that the customers are used to, for instance. So by increasing or by lowering your cost per booking, like I said earlier, in the beginning, HyperGuest, for instance, is a free distribution platform. It will increase your revenue if you start dropping your cost per booking, your distribution channel cost. If you can eliminate all of that, your bottom line will increase, therefore your revenue will increase. You will be able then to provide competitive pricing. And when I refer to competitive pricing, it's not necessarily cheaper pricing. It is competitive within your market. It's competitive within your comp set. That is what we refer to with competitive pricing. Because you have already managed your cost per booking, you have lowered that cost to a point where you can now charge really competitive. You don't have to worry about all those additional costs, which potentially your competitors might still need to do. So now with HyperGuest, for instance, you don't have to worry about that, and you can put out the base price into the market. Improve customer satisfaction. Yes, we all want that. The customer wants that. That's what they want. So by having already the base price, that's a good experience. Like I said earlier, the booking or the experience or your property experience already starts at time of booking. So giving that customer the confidence, giving them, knowing that they got the base price, knowing that they are going to a property that's going to give good service, you've got good content, all of those things will start improving your customer satisfaction. So when it comes to guest reviews, they're already starting off, or you're already starting off on a good foot. Cost savings, that's what we talked about all this time, is that you want to lower that, your distribution cost. That is what you try to lower. And if you can lower that, then your bottom line will look much better and your revenue ultimately will increase. And then, of course, higher occupancy rates. Now, we all know it's, yes, we're talking about revenue. Yes, we're talking about occupancy. Yes, we're talking about average room rate. But what is that RevPAR, revenue per available room? That is what we ultimately want to increase. So I want to get the maximum for the lowest cost per booking. So that's what we drive. Now, I don't want to take anything away from Niels because he's going to talk about this, but once you've got higher occupancies at the best rate, it's not just about the rooms revenue, it's about incremental revenue. How do I sell more of that so that I can increase my revenue? So like I said, I'm not going to take anything away from Niels. I'm sure he's going to discuss that as well just now. So that is HyperGuest in a nutshell. So we want to assist you with direct distribution, giving you access or giving agents, B2B agents globally, direct access to your rates and availability so that they can start booking you directly. Your revenues will increase, average room rates will increase, and it's all still uncommissionable rates. So it's a win-win for you, it's a win-win for the agents as well as for your guest going forward. Thank you very much. That is me from HyperGuest. Niels, will you explain to us what RoomRaccoon does?
Awesome. David, I don't know what happened. I heard you perfectly, but suddenly your pretty face disappeared. So I don't know if you accidentally switched off the camera. But you were talking and then whoop, it was gone. Anyway, thanks, David, for this. I'm very excited about what we can do together, because the main focus of RoomRaccoon in terms of channel management is obviously distribution to the business to consumer, so mainly the OTAs and the websites, and not specifically the agents. So that's a point I'm very excited about. But just sorry for all the customers from RoomRaccoon that I'm going to explain a little bit about RoomRaccoon. I see a couple of recently joined customers. I see a couple of customers that has been with us for quite a while. So there's also some new functionalities we have, which is maybe exciting. So let us know also in the chat if there are specific things you want to maybe focus on after you've heard this, and then we can get your account manager to connect with you. So what RoomRaccoon does, we are the only true all-in-one hotel management system. So in the past, it was generally older server-based systems, and then cloud solutions came in. And what you saw with different hotels years ago is that they were always using a separate property management system, and then they were adding a channel manager and booking engine on top. This is a product that RoomRaccoon has created all in one. So when you go for RoomRaccoon, we provide your entire operational system to manage your property in the most efficient way. And I'm going to focus on kind of the 4 points that will really assist you because of being all in one. So all the parts of our system that we have is kind of summarized here. So we have a property management system where you can manage your operations from housekeeping, invoicing, etc., to our channel manager. This is where we then also tap into HyperGuest, and that's why I'm also very excited about this integration, because we at RoomRaccoon, we were very advanced, but there was a little bit of a part that we could improve, and that was the channel management connectivity to business, mainly with the travel agent business. So with our channel manager, we were always mainly focused, as mentioned, on the OTA distribution and the direct bookings through the booking engine. But now through our dynamic tools and the integration with HyperGuest, we can really grow visibility online and with the agents, which will help our customers obviously a lot with a higher RevPAR. Now we also provide a booking engine, and that's, I think, a little bit of a difference in terms of what David was explaining from direct bookings, which, David, if I correct me if I'm wrong, but you mean we cutting out a lot of middlemen, and if we referring to the booking engine direct bookings, we refer to people booking on your website. We have fully payments integrated across the entire product. We have a revenue management tool and much more. But let's focus on these 4 points that RoomRaccoon will help hotels with. So David, I think the screen is a little bit slow, but you can go to the next page. Is it still loading here?
Loading, okay.
There we go. All right. So because having one solution, you can streamline your operations immensely. The reason why, when I used to work at a pretty boutique hotel in Cape Town for my internship, we were working with one company that did the PMS and the other company that did the channel management. We had a lot of return guests, but because the systems were disconnected, these return guests weren't recognized in the booking engine, which resulted in not being able to apply a loyalty discount, for example, but also, for example, to not be able to have to fill in all the details again, which with a streamlined solution like us will all be avoided. It will recognize, hey David, welcome back. We're looking forward to welcoming you back again. We have negotiated or given you a 5% return discount, or you are always booking with us for 950 rent, for example, which is just super nice. Also the seamless integrations, because we had a different channel manager than a property management system. When somebody wanted to make a booking via the telephone or email, when we wanted to send a payment request, we had to do it from the other system. Otherwise, we needed multiple payment solutions to do the same. Plus, when we do dynamic pricing, we have automated yield rules that you can set up, where the system will automatically increase and decrease your rate, but it will be implemented across all the platforms and your property management system. And that's an issue that I had when I was doing revenue management at this boutique hotel. I was doing discounts in the channel manager, but now within the property management system, it wasn't fed through. So the front desk and the duty managers, they had no idea really what the rate was. And because RoomRaccoon can do that from one centralized point in even an automated way, it will be everywhere aligned. The parity will be everywhere the same, and that really helps with streamlining the operations. And then we go into the next slide. And this is for me also with the streamlining of operations. We have a lot of automated emails as well that we send out where a guest is reminded to their stay, where we can do online check-ins, where everything will be filled in and filtered into the system. So that really helps a lot. And the essence again as well, by having this all nicely integrated, it saves in the end a lot of money. Partly because you can save a lot of money on staff because everything is streamlined, but also because our payments are fully integrated everywhere. You only need one payment solution. Plus, for some reason, we are the only product in the market that allows instant EFT, which helps with better conversion. So that will cut costs for transaction costs. Plus, we also are one of the unique providers that doesn't do an aggregated payment model, which means that we take the money and then we pay it out to you. We directly link it with your bank, which saves a lot of costs. And on average, we save around 0.5% on transaction costs. Sometimes 1.5%, sometimes 0.3%, but on average, we see it's around 0.5%. But also because we have an all-in-one solution, the rates are aligned everywhere. And rate alignment is just important because if guests find you on booking.com, which generally is the case, except if it's obviously agents, then it will go through HyperGuest. But let's talk about the business to consumer guest. When they search a property, they use a search engine like booking.com or TripAdvisor or Airbnb. And when people then or 65% of those guests will come to your website. That's where it's important to have rate alignment, because obviously if your rate is more expensive on the website than on booking.com, yeah, that will be an issue. But because we have that one and all-in-one solution, that rate management parity is just super simple and easy to be managed. And that's how we save a lot of money. On average, we increase 19.8% of direct bookings, which obviously, if you're spending at the moment 50K on commission costs, yeah, that can save you up to around 10K a month, which is very interesting. The next part, and I'm going to take a sip of water because my mouth is getting dry. In between, there was the mug, or there was a glass of wine. I chose the mug, otherwise you guys would think I'm drinking wine already here at 11. Anyway, there we go. Also, we focus a lot on increasing revenue. So what David, you already mentioned earlier is, hey, HyperGuest will really help get much more exposure. We'll get much more distributed to different channels. But what is important now when we have grown the amount of bookings, that we can try and upsell better or try and get that guest experience improved. So we have a very cool tool where we can send out a pre-arrival email. However, sometimes with agents, we don't really get the guest details. So on arrival, we can even present a tablet with the online check-in and try and upsell, which really helps again to make guests aware, oh, wait, there is actually cool things that they can offer. And for you as a hotel, you can just boost your ancillary revenue. What I mentioned earlier as well, that smart dynamic pricing. The new version of yield management is soon going to be live. It looks very cool and some new functionalities added to it. But basically what it means is that you can set up rules according to how busy and how far in advance things are happening. Meaning, hey, I only have 5 rooms available or 5% of my rooms available 6 till 12 months in advance, so almost fully booked. These last 5% of my rooms, or the last 5 rooms, I am selling for this price. If you're a smaller property, my last room I sell for 20%. My second last room I sell for 10% more. And this is something you can set up in our system, which really has a massive impact on your revenue, because this is also how all the algorithms work of the OTAs. The more changes you make in the rates, the more visibility you get. And when people come to our own booking engine, or a booking engine that is implemented on the hotel's website, we can also very nicely create packages, which helps with the experience, but in the end will obviously grow your revenue as well. And then the last part is about the guest experience. So all this ties in together with giving the guest the best experience. As I mentioned earlier, is that when somebody books on the website, the system knows, David, welcome back. Your 5% return discount is applied. Or, hey, a company books every week with you. They can always book a set rate. They don't have to email or call you. And I always compare it with going to the hairdresser. Now, I do have to go to the hairdresser, but I always didn't like it to have to call and ask, hey, do you have availability? No, she's available this time or that time. You want to just be able to book online. It's the same with booking a hotel room. When you know which room you want, you just want to see what's available. You want to have that negotiated rate you have, no prepayment link to it, etc. So that really just improves that guest experience and reduces again a lot of time from your side. And it's very much personalized because these profiles are remembered. And let's say, now, David, I don't think lekker Afrikaans, braai, so not a vegetarian, but let's imagine you are vegetarian. You can load it into the profile, and next time when you say, the system remembers it, and it shows also exactly what happened in the last booking, and that just really happens in or helps with giving that guest the best experience. And then with the online check-in that I focused on earlier, is that you can just simply do and fill everything in before you arrive or on arrival instead of pen and paper, which also helps with better database management. And that's basically RoomRaccoon. So again, for Woede, it's new. Perfect for the current customers. If you have heard some things, I want to hear more about, please just let us know, pop a message or question in here, or reach out to us. But the benefit of having RoomRaccoon and HyperGuest together. So the main benefit is obviously RoomRaccoon will help you with the distribution for your OTA business, helps you with your distribution to online booking engine direct business. But because the part that we missed is really the business to business exposure distribution is where we now can really help generate much more visibility with the agents. Before that, this had to all be done manually, which will resulting in sometimes operators rather not wanting to book because it was time consuming. So that really helps with streamlined operations for them and for our customers. And that's why I'm super excited. David, do you have any points from your side that you feel like?
Yes, yeah. So if we look at that spaghetti distribution, I hope I didn't put anybody off from spaghetti. You can still go and eat your spaghetti, but we want to make sure that we reduce that manual work. So for the little properties, the guest houses, the lodges, we know that you don't have all that additional staff or that manpower to handle all this distribution. This is where HyperGuest will obviously assist in that, taking that manual work out for you, improving so that you can focus more on guest experience. With our connection with RoomRaccoon, there's a seamless integration, so there's no need to worry about that. We have already taken care of that. So basically combining RoomRaccoon revenue insights with the HyperGuest dynamic distribution capabilities, it enables you at property level to act upon all the data that's been given to you so that you can take that distribution channels and achieve higher profitability or achieve higher revenues. So combined, I think this is definitely a successful integration, and you can definitely start seeing some increase in the revenues. Thank you very much. Niels, I think it's time for questions.
Yeah, I see our lovely colleagues have been responding to a couple of questions as well, but I want to give some more people now thoughts to ask any questions if there is any. But I'm just going to go over quickly a couple where now a few of our customers wants to be reached out to, which is great. Maybe I don't see any specific questions yet, but so let's give a couple of minutes to let people type.
So on the left-hand side, under the Q&A, you can just pop your question and we will try and assist. Otherwise, afterwards, we will respond to those, and the presentation and information will be sent. So just from my side, thank you very much for everybody for attending. Really appreciate your time. We know time is valuable at property levels. So thank you so much.
I
I'm
see
available.
here's one question coming in, David. Sorry. I see there's the question is how quickly can you start your distribution when you link HyperGuest with RoomRaccoon, and how quickly can you start your distribution? So what would you say? So obviously we do an introduction to HyperGuest and you guys go into the onboarding team.
Yeah, so quick introduction to the onboarding process from HyperGuest would be that we take care of all your content, we build your profile, we get back to you and advise and say that we are done. We please need you to map your rate plans. This is where you will go from RoomRaccoon and map the correct rate plan that you would like to distribute. Once the mapping is done, we do a few test bookings. And with your approval, once the test bookings are done and everything filters through correctly, we then now immediately open you up. Is what we would call you are now live. That means you are live to the marketplace and you can basically almost immediately start receiving bookings from all the agents live. So,
and David, you said it was kind of plug and play, right? So what that means, so we have integrated it now, and then you can just go into the backend of HyperGuest and say, hey, this channel sounds interesting. I want to get distribution to that one and this one and that one, and certain ones you can deactivate. Does it work like that?
100%, yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. So you are 100% as the hotelier in control of your distribution. So you can decide who you want to distribute to. So argument's sake, for properties in, let's take in South Africa, in the Kruger, they would tell me that, David, I do get quite enough of the tour operating business. I would like to get more, argument's sake, local OTA business. Then we switch off all the tour operating business for them and we only open up the local OTA business. Or, David, we get enough business coming from Australia. We want to target only UK business. Okay, then we open all channels, all agents via the UK market. So you as property, at property level, as the hotelier, are fully in charge of your distribution and what rate, and that rate plan needs to come. It will go via RoomRaccoon, it will tap into HyperGuest, and then we go and do the distribution. But you can load as many rate plans, whether it's a rack rate, bar rate, HTO rates, FIT rate, whatever rate plan you've decided, you can map via RoomRaccoon, and then we will do the distribution accordingly.
Yeah, and then you can say this channel I want to link with a bar rate, and this one with an STO rate, and this one. Awesome. And then I see a question from Yuri. I think you kind of answered it already, and I want to just finish it a bit. But he says, is there any way that we can boost our sales through HyperGuest? Now, yes, you obviously can. Just quickly tapping into the agent part in connection with this question, because you mentioned, hey, let's go focus on the agents in the UK. You do still need to also focus a bit on relationship building, right? It's not like you are now connected and suddenly you're getting flooded in with bookings.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So remember, we are not a marketing platform. We're the booking platform. So we ensure for that direct distribution of rates and availability to go through. So from a sales perspective, you would still need to be in contact or get in contact with the specific agents from a sales perspective. So the sales people still need to do their job, building those relationships, like you mentioned, Niels, they still need to do that, and we can bring that contracts you already have in place and load it onto the HyperGuest platform so that the bookings can now flow directly into your system. And then we also have the capabilities of like the OTAs of stay 2 nights, save 10%, book 30 days in advance, save 15%, book winter specials. Like we spoke about those loyalty members, all of those capabilities of the OTAs you can also put onto HyperGuest to boost those additional bookings if you want to boost a specific market, for instance. Yeah, so all of that is possible.
All right. I don't think there is any other questions.
Don't see.
I'm not a woman, so I can't do talking, listening, and then reading this stuff here. No, I don't think there's anything else. So then I think it was a great a couple of questions. Thank you everyone for participating. David, it was good to see you again. We will be sending out an email, I believe, right, in 1 day or 2 with the recording in it. other questions with some customers that have some questions, we will be reaching out as well. And then, David, you got anything else from your side?
Nothing for me. Again, Niels, thank you for sharing the platform, and thank you everybody else for joining us today.
Awesome. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Cheers. Bye.